My boyfriend's best friend attacked me during his proposal, but the pregnancy reveal 6 months later exposed everything. The pain hit my scalp before I even realized what was happening. 1 second Damon was down on one knee in front of the fountain holding a velvet ring box, and the next my entire head snapped backwards so violently I nearly fell into the water. Someone had grabbed my hair with both hands and yanked so hard tears instantly filled my eyes. I stumbled on the wet pavement, completely disoriented, while people around us gasped and turned to stare. Then I heard Camila screaming. Not crying. Not panicking. Screaming like an actual lunatic in the middle of the park. Are you serious right now? Her voice echoed so loudly that even people across the street stopped walking. I looked up and saw her standing over me with pure rage on her face, still gripping chunks of my hair in her fists. You pathetic nobody. She screamed directly at me. Did you really think you were gonna marry him? My entire body froze. Damon froze too. Camila pointed at him with shaking fury and yelled, "Without my permission? You thought there would be a proposal without asking me first?" That sentence hit me harder than the physical assault. Without my permission. Not his. Not ours. Hers. Like she genuinely believed she owned him. Then she looked down at me with pure disgust and said, "You're just a temporary placeholder. Me and Damon are forever. You're nothing." I kept waiting for Damon to react. To defend me. To finally tell her she had crossed the line. But he just stood there looking terrified. And the sickest part was that he didn't look scared for me. He looked scared for her. That was the moment I finally understood what had been happening for the last 2 years. Camila had hated me from the first day Damon introduced us. It wasn't subtle jealousy either. It was immediate, aggressive hostility disguised as jokes. The first thing she ever said to me was, "Wow, you're prettier than Damon's usual type." Then she laughed and Damon laughed with her like it was harmless. That became the pattern of our entire relationship. Camila would insult me, humiliate me, or make some passive-aggressive comment, and Damon would act like I was dramatic for being upset. She criticized my clothes, mocked my job, interrupted me constantly whenever I spoke, and somehow managed to insert herself into every single moment of our relationship. If Damon and I planned dinner, Camila suddenly showed up. If we went to a bar, she magically appeared there too. Sometimes she called him 10 or 15 times in a row until he answered. And he always answered. Every single time. I remember once asking him why he let her disrespect me so much, and he just sighed and said, "That's how Camila is." They had inside jokes no one else understood, secret looks across rooms, conversations that immediately stopped when I entered the room. Sometimes I genuinely felt like I was interrupting a married couple instead of dating my own boyfriend. By our 2nd year together, I became obsessed with the idea of getting engaged. I convinced myself marriage would finally force Camila out of our relationship. Once I became his wife, surely things would change. Surely I would finally come first. Damon always hesitated whenever I brought up marriage. He had endless excuses. Work stress. Money problems. Bad timing. But after months of arguments and pressure from me, he finally agreed. Then suddenly he started acting different. Sweeter. More affectionate. More attentive. Looking back now, I think guilt was eating him alive. The night of the proposal felt like a dream at first. Damon took me to Riverside Park right at sunset. The fountain lights reflected across the water, musicians were playing nearby, and couples walked around holding hands. It was beautiful. Almost too beautiful. Damon grabbed both my hands and whispered, "I love you." His fingers were shaking. Then he got down on one knee. I remember hearing strangers nearby gasp and smile as he pulled out the ring box. For one perfect second, I thought I had finally won. Then Camila appeared out of nowhere and destroyed everything. After she screamed at us and humiliated me in front of half the park, something in her suddenly changed. Her rage collapsed into tears so dramatic they looked almost theatrical. She stared at Damon like he had betrayed her in the worst possible way imaginable. Then she turned and ran through the park sobbing hysterically. And Damon dropped the ring box onto the pavement and chased after her. Not me. Her. I will never forget hearing him yell, "Camila, wait. Please. I'm sorry. Sorry." He was apologizing to the woman who had just physically attacked me during our proposal. I sat there alone on the wet pavement while rain suddenly started pouring from the sky like some twisted movie scene. My makeup ran down my face, my dress clung to my skin, and strangers awkwardly walked away pretending not to stare. One woman quietly asked if I needed help, but I couldn't even answer. I just sat there replaying the image of Damon running after Camila like she was the love of his life. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. Not my heart. My delusion. I realized I had spent 2 entire years fighting for a man who was never truly mine to begin with. I went back to our apartment alone that night and packed everything I owned into garbage bags and suitcases. Damon never came home before I left. I blocked both of them on everything. Phone numbers. Instagram. Facebook. WhatsApp. Everything. I didn't leave a note. I didn't ask for explanations. I didn't beg for closure. I disappeared completely. At first, part of me expected Damon to show up eventually. I thought maybe once the chaos settled, he would realize how insane everything had become and come begging for forgiveness. But he never did. Not once. Weeks passed in complete silence. That silence hurt more than cheating ever could because silence is confirmation. I realized Damon never chose me. I was just the outsider standing between him and the person he was truly emotionally attached to. The next 6 months were brutal. I moved into a tiny apartment across town and threw myself into work just to survive mentally. I started therapy because I genuinely felt broken after everything that happened. Some nights I would wake up replaying the proposal in my head over and over again, wondering how I ignored so many obvious signs. But slowly things started getting better. I stopped checking Damon's social media from fake accounts. I stopped crying every night. I started feeling like myself again. Then one afternoon I went to my old nail salon and everything came crashing back. My nail technician Sarah lowered her voice halfway through my appointment and asked carefully, "You haven't heard?" Immediately my stomach dropped. She pulled out her phone and opened Instagram. The second I saw the photo, I felt sick. Camila was sitting on Damon's lap inside his car wearing a tight beige dress stretched over a very obvious pregnant stomach. Damon looked exhausted. Completely drained. But Camila looked victorious. Smug. Possessive. Like she had finally won the prize she'd been fighting for all along. Then I read the caption underneath the photo. "Everything that belongs to me always comes back." Sarah leaned closer and whispered that people were saying Camila was already 4 or 5 months pregnant. 4 or 5 months. I instantly started doing the math in my head. Which meant she either got pregnant right before the proposal or immediately after it. Suddenly everything made horrifying sense. Camila wasn't acting like an overprotective best friend. She was acting like a jealous girlfriend terrified of losing her man. And Damon? Damon had probably been lying to both of us the entire time. I stared at that photo expecting to feel heartbreak or jealousy or anger. Instead, I felt relief. Pure relief. Because for the first time, I truly saw their future clearly. Camila looked obsessed, controlling, unstable. Damon looked trapped. Exhausted. Miserable. And suddenly I realized I had escaped a life that would have destroyed me completely. I handed Sarah her phone back, paid for my nails, and walked outside into the warm afternoon sunlight feeling lighter than I had in years. I lost 2 years trying to force a future with a man who already emotionally belonged to someone else.